Alright, so in this video we're going to look at evaluating functions with several variables. And there's two ways to do it. And we have the function here, f of xy equals 2x squared plus 3x minus y squared. And we want to evaluate this function at 2, -3. We plug 2 in for x and -3 in for y. And I'm going to show you two different ways to do it. Alright, so if you want to write this down, you can. I'm going to switch over to wxMaxima. So here we are. So the first way I'm going to show you, we're going to define f to be our function. Now notice it says 2x squared. You cannot put 2x squared. You have to put 2 times x squared. Okay, and then we have plus 3 and then times x. You can't put just 3x minus y squared. Okay, and now if I put a semicolon and hit enter, what it's going to do is it's going to put the function down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, and that's fine if you do that, but I'm going to put the $sign, and what it'll do is it'll just leave it and it won't reproduce the function. Alright, so the first way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to use the command called sublist. Okay, and so, and then I'll put my parentheses, and notice it puts both sets there. Alright, and then we need to enter in our x value and our y value. So remember, x is 2, y is -3. Okay, so we're going to put that in a bracket, and I want x to equal 2, and then for the y value I'm going to put a comma, y equals -3. Okay, and then we move outside the bracket. So that's the values I'm plugging in for x and y. And what do I want to plug these values into? Well, comma, and I want to plug them into f. So I'll put f, and I hit enter, and that gives me 5. Alright, so for the next way, let's define the function like this. F of x, f of x, y, and we're going to define it with a colon equals. Okay, now when you do the f of x, y, you got to do the colon and equals. You can't just do a colon. Okay, so, and I'm going to put the function in again. I'm just going to copy it from this one, and we'll paste it there. Okay, and I'm going to put the $sign so it doesn't repeat the function, and I hit enter. Now I want to evaluate this at 2, -3. So I'm going to do f of 2 comma -3, and that's all you do. You just f of, and you put what value you want for x and what value you want for y, and hit enter. Okay, now I want to show you one other thing that's pretty neat, what you can do. So let's let's suppose that I have sine of n pi x. Okay, and let's say I want to list several values for n. Say I want n to be 1, 2, 3, and I want to list all those. Well, let me show you a way that we can do that. So let's flip back over here, and you know, you can do this with any function. I'm just going to do it with sine. So I'm going to define my function f of nx. That's my two variables, n and x. Okay, and I'm going to define that to be the sine of n, and remember, you have to put the multiplication symbols. Okay, so n pi. So how do we enter pi in? Well, percent pi. That's how you enter the pi. Times x, and I'm gonna put a dollar sign so it's not going to repeat the function. Now, instead of hitting enter, okay, if I hit enter, if you've watched my other videos, if you hit enter, it's going to take it out of this cell here, okay. So what I want to do is hit shift enter, and see, it's going to keep it in this cell here. And I want to do f of 1 comma x, okay, and I'll need a semicolon there, and I'm going to hold shift enter, and I want to do f of 2 comma x and hold shift, oh, I forgot to put the semicolon, shift enter, f of 3 comma x colon, and parenthesis and then semicolon. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to plug the 1 in, the 2 in, and the 3 in, and it's going to list them each individually. So if I hit enter, and you can see it produces all 3 of them. So, that's a pretty neat trick. If you have several points you want to evaluate the function at, you can do it like this, and it'll list them all right here. Okay, so I hope this video helped. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my other videos. All right, thanks.